Think about the last time someone was impossibly, almost suffocatingly helpful. They offered before you asked. They showed up when you didn't call. They remembered every single problem you'd ever mentioned and had a solution for each one. At first, it felt like a miracle. Someone who actually cared, someone who got it. But then, something felt off. You couldn't name it, couldn't prove it. It was just a feeling, the kind that sits in your chest at 2 a.m. and won't explain itself. What if the person who kept saving you needed you to keep drowning? Today, we're going to dissect the hero complex, not as a quirky personality trait, but as a calculated psychological trap. Stay until the end. The last section is the most important thing I'll say. Let's talk about reciprocity, identified as one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. When someone does something for us, we feel compelled to give something back. It's so hardwired into us that it overrides logic, boundaries, even self-preservation. The hero complex exploits this completely. Here's the pattern. They do a favor you didn't ask for, then another, each one slightly larger, each one coming with just a little more expectation in their eyes. And before you notice what's happening, you're operating under a debt you never agreed to carry. Here is what separates a genuine helper from someone with a hero complex. A genuine helper gives and lets go. A hero complex person gives and keeps a ledger. They remember every single thing they've done for you, and they will bring it up, not in anger, not obviously, but as a quiet reminder. Remember when I covered for you at work? Remember when I drove 2 hours to help you move? I was there for you when no one else was. Watch for the signals. After everything I've done for you, I just thought you'd be more grateful. I don't know why I keep helping people who don't appreciate it. These aren't expressions of hurt feelings. These are invoice statements. You just haven't seen the bill until now. This is the part people never want to believe. And I understand why. Because it requires accepting something genuinely dark about human nature. Some people with a hero complex don't just respond to crises. They create them. Not dramatically, not obviously, subtly, surgically, in ways they might not even fully consciously acknowledge. You may have heard of Munchausen by proxy, a psychological condition where a caregiver induces illness in someone under their care in order to receive attention and admiration for being so devoted. The hero complex has a relational version. They whisper doubts into your ear when you're considering a new job. I just don't want you to get hurt. You know how these things go. They mention something your partner said, out of context, or perhaps slightly altered. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but they introduce anxiety where you had confidence. They introduce conflict where you had peace. And then, right on cue, they appear. To help, to fix it, to be the one you turn to. The fire was never an accident. The fire was the point. Because they show up every single time. And in a world where people often don't show up, that feels real. That feels like love. But genuine support stabilizes you over time. If your supporter has been in your life for years and your life is somehow never stable, That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. We need to talk about what's actually feeding this behavior. Because this isn't about you. It never was. In psychology, the term narcissistic supply refers to the attention, admiration, and emotional energy that feeds a narcissistic ego. For someone with a hero complex, their supply is your helplessness, your gratitude, your need. The moment you stop needing them, they don't just leave, they feel threatened. Watch what happens when you become capable, when you get the promotion, when you find a new relationship, when you solve your own problem. A real friend celebrates. Someone with a hero complex finds a flaw in your win. Yeah, but did you really think that through? I mean, congrats. I just worry about you sometimes. Be careful, people like that don't change. They're not being cautious, they're being territorial. Your independence is a threat to their identity. Here's what clinical research tells us about the underpinning of this behavior. People with hero complex patterns often carry a deep internal wound, a core belief that they are unworthy of love unless they are useful, that they only have value as a function, that if they stop performing, they will be abandoned. This doesn't make what they do acceptable, but it does make it legible. They need to be needed, because the alternative, just being a person, unremarkable and imperfect, feels like annihilation.
The trap they built for you was the same trap they're in.
Now, the part that actually matters. Because awareness without action is just anxiety with better vocabulary. Here's how you break free from a savior's trap without detonating everything in the process. You don't owe an emotional performance for every favor received. A simple thank you is complete. It is enough. It doesn't require follow-up devotion. When you notice yourself over-expressing gratitude, catch it. Ask, am I grateful? Or am I managing them? Those are very different things. Not to show off, to reclaim your narrative. The hero complex requires that you be seen as someone who struggles. When you visibly solve your own problems in front of others, you rewrite the story they've been telling about you. Talk about your wins. Share your plans. Let people see your competence, not for validation, as a boundary. This is the strategic part. Stop being immediately available when they offer help. Actually, I think I'm going to try to handle this one myself first. I appreciate it. Let me see how far I get on my own. Notice their reaction. A genuine helper will say, of course, I'm here if you need me. Someone with a hero complex will push back, insist, make you feel foolish for trying. That reaction is your answer. A savior's trap only functions in isolation. They are rarely the problem when you have a wide, healthy circle, because they can't be your only option. Deliberately build and maintain relationships outside their sphere. Other friends, other mentors, other resources. Every connection you make is a wall they cannot own. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to deliver a monologue. You just need to see it clearly, say it to yourself clearly, and let that clarity guide every decision going forward. When you can name what's happening, the manipulation loses its grip.
Not because they change, because you do.
The most dangerous trap is the one that wears the face of someone who loves you. If this video clarified something you'd been feeling but couldn't name, that feeling was trying to protect you. Trust it. If you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them, not as an accusation, as a mirror. I'll see you in the next one.